Sort of okay. Hello, everyone. If you're catching the replay, welcome. I'm Steve. Is Mark around? Mark! He's outside. And this is Smokey, Steve, and Mark. Welcome or welcome back, and happy Sunday. As we get situated here. That's not bad. So, hope everyone's well. Hope everybody's safe. I hope you're enjoying your end of the weekend, beginning of the work week. If you're a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5er, I am. So, we're having some comfort food for dinner. We're having breakfast for dinner. So, we have a couple pieces of bacon, like 2. They're pretty small. This is an egg and an egg white, just to stretch it out a little. And then a bagel with a very scant amount of cream cheese. I got the schmondays a little bit, so we're going to keep each other company, cheer each other up, and catch up a little bit on dearest Foodie Beauty, who has been kind of below the radar for the last... Hey, Panda, what's up? She's been kind of under the radar for the last 2 days. I think she's just been... I mean, unless she's been under the low traveling, she's just squatting in a hotel in Qatar, away from all those annoyances that she left Canada to go be with. So, Tuxedo, hello, how are you? I'm going to try to do as much of this as I can without my glasses on, because when I watch it back, I played with the lighting in here for 20 minutes. When I try to watch it back, all I see is glare. I hate it. I don't like it. So, Foxy, hello. Andy, hello. But here we are moving right along. It was an uneventful weekend. I'm happy to report. Nothing happened on this side of life. Mom and Dad came down today. You know. The lack of filters is hysterical. Because it looks like she legitimately put on almost 30 pounds in a handful of days. The filters can help you lie, but, you know, ultimately the camera does not lie, I think. Close my eyes, I'm listening to you exhausted. Oh, fine, that's okay, Mayor. Just listen in, it's okay. If I need you, I'll ring for you. So, yeah, it's hard, because if I stay here, I can see. And it's not too bad. We'll be okay, we're going to figure this out as we go. So she is away at the moment, off the radar. And just to get kind of an idea of where she's traveled from and to, she said her admission is that she's about 1,000 miles away. It took her 2 hours to fly. 1,000 miles and a 2-hour flight would be New York City to Miami. That's far. I need some away time. The closest place I could find me time that I felt comfortable was at the Hyatt Regency in Doha. I can't be comfortable anywhere else. And then, I mean, we've all been talking about the tie-in with taking money in the name of charity, and then insisting that things like audits of charities don't exist. No one ever asks who donates when they... Yes, they do. That's part of being on the up and up, is that you show receipts to other people, so that you can be deemed trustworthy. Air conditioning and room service, Andy, this was the big deal. This is what she wanted. And she couldn't see. She had this whole Muslim princess, Persian bullshit, kind of like Middle Eastern, kind of vaguely everything that she doesn't know. She just had this idea that she would be dressed kind of seductively and that a man would escort her around. Reviewing the sandwich. And you know she didn't go out. It was room service. That bitch don't use a plate. Sending her... And I know it's cheaper. I know she's getting by further. So that $1,000 is probably going a little bit further. But the flight certainly wouldn't have been free from one to the other. And she decided she was done playing Outward Bound with the rest of the people who it's their life reality, and decided to, on her pretty little privileged ass, fly out of there and leave it behind. I don't like talking to the women, and I can't hang out with the men. They're really strict here. It's Syria. Where did you think you were going? Disney World? Mayor sounds good. Just yell my name if you need me and wake me up. Mayor. I think she's completely insulting. Thank you for the super chat, Mayor. I think it's completely insulting to the locals that she's treated, like I said, like an Outward Bound. You know, it's like, it reminds me of doing Habitat for Humanity as a kid, except she's not helping anybody. They would take all of us kids into a poor neighborhood, and in America, poor equals person of color, often in urban areas. So we were all fish out of water. And trying to do our thing, and we go and do our little part and we leave, and we feel very proud of ourselves, and that's good. It's good to volunteer your time, and it's a great charity, but at the same time, you feel like you're coming in, going to fix everything and leave. This is everybody's day to day where they're living, and I don't care if you're in Brooklyn or Syria or Mars. It's your day to day is very, very different than those that you were living with. And not wanting to talk to the women, she just straight doesn't like women. They don't even speak to her, probably. No English, nothing, but they don't have anything to do with her. Can you blame her? I mean, can you blame them? What is she contributing? She can't even make tea. I think Julia's better. She could have taken Julia. Honestly, I think for Julia, it's better not to do all this traveling. And the fact that she left and came back, and when she came back, Salva still had the cat, was hysterical. I can't believe that happened. I was surprised. I thought by then it would have been promised away to somebody. Oh, she's in really good hands. I can't tell you anything because haters will just track them down. That's what she's pulling with this special needs kid bullshit. I can't do anything nice, and then haters are going to track them down, and blah, 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 blah. No, it's because you're a thief and a scumbag. That's why people care. And you took advantage of the most vulnerable. Because as much as you don't speak Arab, they don't speak English, probably. So nobody knows what's going on. It goes, Patrick, it goes. No, not even expected to contribute. And when she wants out of there, she wants a ride. Drive me to Damascus so I can get out of here. Such a child. Don't point your finger at the West. Say it's an awful debauchery, it's scum, you live a more modest, perfect life. You get sick of that modest life in a matter of weeks. And then cling to Western amenities because you're a spoiled brat. Not all Westerners are spoiled brats, but she comes pretty close to being the poster child for everything's owed to me, everyone's in my way, and if I can buy and sell you, I will. And if I can take advantage of you, I will. And she'll tell herself anything to get away with it. And the idea that she was taking money and then there'd be no auditing. She didn't promise to put up any receipts. She said she was going to. We get nothing. Then she says she doesn't have to. You don't have to do anything. But if you want to be taken seriously and have your freedom in check, Christine, hello, then, you got to follow the rules a little bit. Any of us could come online and I could make up a relative that's sick and say, send me money. And if you're abusing the trust of people, then that's what you're doing. Doesn't matter if you come up with $30 or $1,000. If you're taking advantage of people to say, you should trust me more than you do. She's sinking lower. See, when she was only hurting herself and the Beezers, and maybe to some degree Nader on the back burner when she was living there. And Pete's, but Pete's is like, he's like a piece of furniture. She recognizes that she's familiar with him and he's familiar to her. But beyond that, there's no sense of obligation. I bet she doesn't even call on his birthday. But she was hurting herself and spending a lot of money wastefully. I think a lot of people looked at that and thought, man, 20 grand a month and you're blowing it all on yourself. Even the other hater reactors still would buy property and other things with their money to have something longer with it. Like I remember French Fry Girl was talking about getting a house, and I remember Garlic Bread, who incidentally is demonetized right now, and he appealed and lost it. He has to come back in 30 days. His channel got flagged. And I'm lukewarm on Garlic Bread. A lot of things we agree on, a lot of things we don't agree on. But I don't know. I looked into the details. I tried to find out why his channel was yanked down, and it said reusing images. He uses still shots and periodically the stray piece of footage. And he's been doing that off Shantel for years. She would stamp on one hand and say it's not fair to make money off of me. And she goes to no end to stop it because it's a together relationship. One hand washes the other there. Quit his job to react to Shantel. Yeah, you don't do that. I had thought, Tuxedo, when I was listening to him, that he was taking in enough money. I thought that he had put some in place. Like I was thinking he thought he wouldn't have to work that much because he invested. Not that he was depending on having this much money coming in every month. I mean, Chantal's not going to live forever. I mean, even if she wasn't 430 pounds, she's not going to live forever. This isn't going to be the last gig I ever have talking about Shantel. It's in my 70s when she's been dead 20 years. we probably will still be talking about her. Some of us are petty. I'm petty sometimes. That's me. So, I don't know. I don't know. So goes. So be it, I guess. For anyone else who's missing, breakfast of champions, coffee, and cigarettes. She thinks she's going to live forever. She does think she's going to live forever. Either that, or she's kind of if you look at her in a sympathetic mental health aspect, which is almost impossible, it's easy to love the lovable ones. When you work in human services, some people, it pulls at your heart. You want to see them succeed. You want to see them do well. And even if they have setbacks, and even if they make mistakes, you're still pulling for them. No one's pulling for Shantel. It was me for a little bit, and then I don't think anybody. I think I have more of a stake in her than Smee, because I've seen sicker people get well, but not much sicker. I haven't seen people this selfish get unselfish, we'll say that. Sometimes people find God or whatever, and, they have a big personality change, or they go into recovery and get a personality change, or something happens. I don't see it. I don't think she cares. She's just going to be a burden to others anyway. They're just going to have to roll her around and bring her food, and, As far as I know, the charge was reusing, reusing footage or reusing content, which he does very, very little of. Thank you for asking, Contrast. We're feeling better. We're going a little light. We're doing breakfast. We're doing eggs and bacon. But I have my normal nonsense of my anxious stomach that we do all this dumb shit with. And then I think I just had a stomach bug middle of the week. Nothing fancy, nothing to draw home about, no doctor's appointments, just couldn't really keep a whole lot down. So she does run you off. She starts friendly with you, but the more you get to know her, the less you like her. And then you start to think maybe everyone has her wrong. Maybe she really is decent on the inside. Or maybe it's all an act and she's really nice on the other side of the camera. So, I don't know. Oh, you love the coffee talk, Foxy? That was a throwback. I had the right to remain silent, but I didn't have the ability. So I turned the camera on, and we were just feeling snarky. And I was like, Phil, turn this on. Get the camera. It was a throwback. It was a take to back in the day, definitely. So, yeah, Chantal's not a good person. And when you dig down to that, people will forgive a lot. Chantal comforts herself by saying, they all hate me because I'm fat. No, honey, there's plenty of fat people out there that are in love and in marriage and have kids and hobbies and dreams and goals and all this other stuff. And them being fat has very little to do with it. That said, being fat can get in the way of a lot of shit. It's not comfortable. It's not easier to travel at 400 pounds. Don't tell me it's no different. When you're carrying around the weight of 3 women, it's hard. If I was, my weight is 180. My average weight would be like 180. So who's good at math? 180 times 3. How fat would I be? And that would be the amount proportionally that she's carrying around. Plus she's 5'1". I'm 6 foot. I'm 12 inches taller than her, and I weigh 200 pounds less. And I'm not saying I'm healthy, she's not, because we all have our things. But I'd be 540 pounds if you put that onto me then. 540. I'd be 600-pound life. I'd be Amy Slayton. It'd be huge. And I would like to think, and this is I don't like to compare because you guys are pretty reasonable, you're pretty well informed and generally nice. But if I slowly gained up to 500 to 600 pounds on camera and Mark helped me get there, well-intended people would intervene and say something. People who actually cared. Not people trying to rule my life and take my money and blah, blah, blah. Whatever. It's not like that. It's people who are genuinely concerned for my welfare. And if I decide that their concern is actually not concern, it's control, or an attempt at control, then I'm going to refuse it. Because no one's going to tell me what to do. The petulance of, just make shit up and says, as long as she sees one, I agree with you, or yes, fly by somewhere, she thinks she has the consensus of the community. I can't imagine being that big. My highest weight was 290. We're closing to 300. I was in a hospital, and when I went in, I was 278, but then I was in treatment with Mark in 2012. I was 290 on their bathroom scale, fully clothed. So I was getting big. I didn't realize how big. Like, I'm one of those fat people that doesn't really see it until you lose some weight, and then you go, God, I was really doughy looking. I lose perspective on that. They call it like body dysmorphia or something. I don't see myself accurately. And so once I've lost maybe 20, 30 pounds, I can see that I've lost weight if I look at pictures from 6, 7 months ago. So, bacon, beauty bite, beauty bite. Bacon, 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 bacon. She can't have bacon, right? Who wants to bet? Wasn't she having a turkey club? Don't they come with bacon? Or did she explain that away? She might have said that, oh no, it doesn't come with this, it doesn't come with that. People pay attention to those little details. They tracked her ass down by the bottle of water she was drinking as one of the details as to where she was. They tracked the brand on the bottle, where it was being distributed, where it was likely distributed, and tracked it all the way back to find the country where she was. People are insane. I mean, I don't mean that bad. I mean, the amount of craftiness. I have a journalism degree. You need to be able to snoop on the up and up if you want to get stuff you can report. You have to have verifiable sources. You can't just say, someone told me, I can't tell you who. That doesn't carry water. Something's happening, I can't tell you the details, then nothing's happening. If you can't share the details, then nothing's happening. It's just another fucking holding pattern. She's probably sitting there on a pile of chunkies, eating her fast food, eating her room service, because she deserves it. Because look how much good she did all year taking care of these people. I don't know. These bagels are a couple days old. We'll see. I put a little smattering of cream cheese on it. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. But the fraudy part of the charity, there were people who I'd seen some stuff come through that did call like Barkley and reported that what they paid was fraud and they wanted the charge back. And they said they got it and that there was a small investigation that was opened. Just, if it was so easy to give her this, like, why didn't Shantel just skip one of her plane rides and help this girl out? Shantel had it within her ability to fix this girl's problem. Instead, she went online and said, look how sad this is. Why don't you fix her problem by sending me money? And I promise on my good name, I will make sure it gets to where it needs to go. And then conspicuously, I have a Rolex within a couple days. And all of a sudden, all those people that I was surrounded by and collecting money for, all of a sudden, I need them 1,000 miles away because I can't do that. I need air conditioning. I need food. You can't point west and go boo, 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 and then when you're over there, turn around and go, ugh. If you hate our amenities, if you hate Western amenities, then stay where you're at. Otherwise, you're the obvious hypocrite we all thought. So, we'll see. Bagels take a while to chew. I'd be a bad mukbanger. Someone who used to be a bad... You know. Ugh. I had Mark today with you. Mark got up and then wasn't feeling so hot, so he laid back down after about an hour. And the cats were crawling all over him, both of them. He has a little office now outside, so he doesn't hang as much inside, unless it's like later in the evening. So it goes. Now, what next? If she's in this hotel and not doing much now, she's either enjoying her amenities or traveling. You know, she's got Wi-Fi, she hadn't run out of data, and she said that the exchange, the place was relatively inexpensive, I guess, to stay per night. But when you add the cost of 2 flights and that long hotel stay, that's not breathing room. That's a fucking vacation. If I took a week away from Mark, flew 1,000 miles away, got a hotel room for myself, and got all the food I could eat, all the time I could sit around and do nothing, and then go back there. That's privilege. When you can leave that situation and go on vacation in the middle of it, and leave your husband and your animals, and feel like that's okay. I'm sure he was not sad to see you leave, and she probably says that's because they have a strong relationship. It's probably because he doesn't give a fuck where she goes. I guess he likes the cat now. So she left to go on vacation. And then is going to go back. How do you borrow $1,000? How do you collect $1,000 and then go on vacation? I watch Unsolved Mysteries. I know the score. I know what these kind of folks are like. And I can see from the inside out the little scammy nature that goes with it. It's such bullshit. It's so wrong. I mean, there's a lot of ways to be a scumbag, but it's one thing to be a dirtbag scumbag. It's another to pretend that you're not. You know, there's some plenty of people in and around girl world that are like, that are very out and about with themselves. They're very open about their attitude and their own, you know, rough around the edges sort of nature. Shantel presents herself a little bit differently until the camera slips. Until the filter doesn't work. And she looks like a sack of potatoes. 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. So where she goes next, I don't know. Some people said Canada. Some people said this is just traveling over. It came through the stuff I was looking at that her and Shannon might have been back in communication. Which, if she's going to start to put roots back in the West, she's going to need someone to manipulate, someone to feel sad for her, someone to let me crash on your couch. And so she'll reopen these old relationships that she stops returning calls, and then when there's been distance, fights with them. But then when she needs something, we're all friends. It paints a composite of a kind of person you just want to hit with a sack of nickels. You know, it's just, I think it's frustrating because I think all of us know a little bit of a Shantel. You know, I think all of us know someone who's kind of like Shantel, not in this extreme, and not having anything to do with her weight. That's just an extra bit of gravy, you know. That's God's little humor for her acting like this. This is her penance. This is her hair shirt, the 250-pound hair shirt. You want to be a bitch? Fine. Shuffle all over. There's your karma. Now, I wouldn't be a very good God, just so we're all on the same page. Because who am I to say? Who am I to hand out consequences? But hypothetically, if it were my thing to do, I'd feel tempted. I'd feel very tempted to. Yeah. So, I don't have my other phone with me, so I don't have if she has any community posts up at the moment. It's in the other room, Mark's outside. So I'll have to grab it in a minute or have him get it. So, again, thank you to everybody who came to the coffee talk we had earlier this week. It was a shorter video. It was maybe only 10, 11 minutes. But I saw some old faces I haven't seen in a while, and some people in the comments. We got a little bit of a bump in subscribers. So that doesn't mean this is going to be a 6-7 day out of the week Foodie Beauty channel. We had stopped doing long Foodie Beauty videos a couple of years ago. Then we switched to lives. Then the periodic short video. But this short video meant more to me because I was able to get my thoughts out quick. I got to be a little snarky. And it was done. Scheduled. Preparing for a Foodie video can be challenging. I can start doing research, looking at her week, and taking my notes starting Monday. Something can happen at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you have to rewrite everything. God forbid, you have to refilm everything if you miss a big point. So, it has its challenges. But being able to keep up with her at the pace I'm at now, just to see what she's been doing, and then also to stay informed and keep you guys in the loop and share opinions and thoughts on it, without it being a thing, you know? It doesn't necessarily have to be Foodie Beauty Day, you know? This one's supposed to be a mukbang, but I can't help it, chilling. Now, like I said, I wouldn't want to put you guys on blast as much as I would, but the long period of separation, the distance, and the money spent, the money, let's say it wasn't the money from the little girl that she used to do her traveling, her expenses, her new clothes, all the stuff she needed so she can go on vacation. If she hadn't spent that money for her traveling, where did, you know, $2,500 for 2 flights and a hotel and more fast food than you can shake a stick at, I'm sure. Where the hell did all that money come from? Was it Solace? Was it hers and she got to a country where she could access her money, so she took advantage of it? I don't know if she understands. A lot of marriages don't work this way unless they're on the rocks. You know, some people have agreed time apart, but it's different. Like Mark went on every couple years, last couple years, he went to Florida with a couple of friends. And I stayed here because I had stuff to do and I couldn't go. And Mark went and had a great time. But he didn't go by himself just to be away from everyone. To be away from everyone. And just do his own thing. He had plans, he had stuff to do, he had places to go. He wasn't running from anything. He was running towards his friends and a good time. He wasn't running away from uncomfortable circumstances at home. So there's a little bit of a difference. I know couples that do long distance, live apart, that kind of thing. It's her own damn fault. He told her, don't come. At least a month, don't come. I think he figured in that time she'd get over it, get on to something else. Or the Hardee's, you know, chicken sandwich would come back and she'd be too distracted to stay married. But I think he made it very clear when he said, don't come over here. Don't come over here. And she rushed back, and now she doesn't like the environment, so she put herself on a plane to leave everybody behind. Because this is cute for the channel, but in real life, she needs comforts. You know, this is all cute for content. But otherwise, it's not really... And that's what I feel like it is. I feel like she feels like I can put up with it because it's only for a little bit. It's only for a little while. I don't know if they're going to build a Hyatt Regency in rural Syria anytime soon. And how would she explain away leaving her family and friends? She told all of us that that's what she was staying for. She told us that's why she left early from Canada. If you burn so many bridges in your home country that your next best option was Syria, then you did it to yourself. Who could burn so many bridges that you can't even go back to where you're from? Because friends, family, and everybody else were like, you know, fool me once, shame on you. And God love him, it was probably like, fool me a dozen times, shame on you. Because they sound like they were a bit forgiving and she's a bit manipulative. So when you put the two of those together, you can have a long-term-ish relationship with someone who has a complicated life. Let's say she has a complicated life. Notice no OJ, no coffee. I drink diet soda in the morning. It's probably why I have, I don't know what, holes in my stomach or something. But, yeah. Smoke break. It's about we're at about the half-hour mark. I'm trying to think of a time I ran away. Once. I remember during my addiction I ran away. Sort of. I was working a job, like a night shift job, like a graveyard type of thing. It was 2011, maybe. And I was working night shifts, and so I went to work, or I was going to go to work, and I never went. And then I went to a bar, and then I disappeared for about a day and a half. I stayed in a couple hotels, I couldn't tell you where. Went to a 12-step meeting, stayed at a guy's place, stayed over there. So I was gone about 3 days. Mom's calling, of course. They're calling to see where I am. They're worried because I'm sick, deranged, unwell, and out of sight. So eventually they tracked me down, and I had come home, but I was gone and on the run, you know, and what I was doing was more important than what anybody else could have been worried about. So let's say her family does care to some degree. She can't do anything about it. I mean, they're not going to be reassured by anything she has to say. They're not going to believe anything she has to say. So, you know, what do you do? Why doesn't she just go live with her aunt in Jamaica? Where did this freaking aunt in Jamaica go? Because moving in with her was going to fix the fucking world. Everything was going to be fine now. I'm going to move in with my aunt in Jamaica. And just Jamaica bees. And just travel. Travel means you see shit. Not go from, you know, airport hotel to airport hotel. I think there'd be a fair amount of people who are jealous of Shantel's circumstances. Am I jealous of someone who can pick up on a whim, fly 1,000 miles away, and stay a week in a hotel? Yes. Am I envious of the way Shantel had to go about it? No. So there is a little bit of envy in the lifestyle, but the things you need to do to get the money, the people whose relationships you have to blow off temporarily to go enjoy it, and the, insane amount of selfishness to put yourself before everybody else. Even in this Eastern culture, you think the man would leave and the women would stay. Not the wife would get up and fly away. It must look like ridiculous to the people in the community she's in. It's gotta look ridiculous to them. Because, they don't act like that. And I didn't see them looking like they were servants in the background. They were just going about the business of life. But her not being able to eat what she wants whenever she wants, say what she wants whenever she wants, leave wherever she wants whenever she wants, feels like she's being in a cage. The routine of it, the culture of it doesn't feel comforting to her. It sounds like it feels like a cage, and she just wants to go. She just wants to get away. But I maintain, 1,000 miles away on a 2-hour flight would be if I needed away from Mark, so I went to Miami for a week. Because I deserve Western amenities. Don't you think Salva likes air conditioning? Don't you think Julia likes air conditioning? Wife of the year. Couldn't afford to both of them to fly. On ground, they probably would have gotten somewhere they could have both afforded to stay. I don't know. I don't know enough about Syria. I know it's kind of the way in certain countries the big urban spaces are a little more westernized, and then the further out you get, the more regional and local it seems to be. So, couldn't they find a place where he could go too? Is he busy at home building the foundation to the house? This guy can't get his way around a kitchen. I don't think he's going to be pouring concrete and glazing windows in a new home. The family home that he came back to work on. You mean when he was expelled from the place that he fled to? Fled from Syria. And then got to go back because he hitched his wagon to her star. And all those haters who got them thrown out of Kuwait. It was this fake charity shit that jammed her up. And it's going to jam her up again in Syria. You cannot collect, when you add PayPal into it and you start taking donations, and you designate what those donations are going to be for, then you got to put up or shut up with what they were designated for. Then you have to say, this went to this went to that. She makes it sound like audits are an impossible thing. Like nobody has the right to question what you did with other people's money. I think she's depending on the fact that it would get lost in the shuffle between Syria, Canada, US. Like there's so many places things could be happening. I think she figures it's too confusing and no one else will look into it to figure out how it works. Nobody else will. So. And the babies. I could not leave the kitties. Mark and I were leaving a building on short notice. The place we live next door that got condemned before we moved here, we had 2 kitty cats and we were in a hotel for 3 weeks. So my parents lovingly, however reluctantly, took the cats in. I was upset because I wasn't there with them all day long. Now, yeah, call me a pushover, call me a fag, whatever. I don't care. I wanted to be around them more often than we could. And they weren't there. So I was upset. We took Bandit with us once to a hotel, and I felt bad just putting him in the car because he was singing and crying and everything. The fact that she can just nonchalantly and with barely any mention, like, I could go have a good time apart from Mark. We're not stuck at the hip. But that doesn't mean, like, if I was away, I would be, celebrating the spoils of everything. Not only he can't have. It's not like he's sacrificing, so he can't have any of this stuff. Like when one person is sacrificing so much for the other, and the other person's giving so little. And Shantel likes her dollar signs, and we'd all be starving if it wasn't for me. Luckily, they just see her screaming, because if they don't speak English, it's just this big woman going like this a bunch. Cooking dinner and getting everybody sick. Having to go to the hospital. She was due for medical bees. We knew that. Because when she can't get comfortable, she fakes sick. And she can induce being sick. All she has to do, which she could do with a good reason, is not eat for a few days. Her vitals are always off, and they'll admit her to the hospital. The funny thing, when they said, get out, you're fine, and she said, no, I have to stay. Peak Shantel. I know better than the doctors. I know better than anyone here. I know better than this third world hospital. You moved. You weren't drafted. You weren't dragged. You chose to go there. Everyone else is running away from the fire. You're running into it. Saviors, army men, firemen, God, they run towards the danger. She ran towards it because it's cheap and because she was chasing a man who didn't want her there, by his own words. I don't know. I've been desperate for male attention when I was younger. Furthest I ever drove was Lancaster. It was maybe an hour. I was living in Philadelphia. And I was always willing to go the extra, I'll drive, I'll come see you, because I wanted him to like me. Of course I wanted the guys to like me, so I would go over the top and do extra. I'll pay for this. I've never been a person of high finance, ever, in any relationship. It's always been 50-50 or I'm broke. So with Mark, it's more 50-50. And it's a little more comforting, too, because there's always that weird, not always, there can be a weird dynamic of if one person's paying for everything, what is the other person contributing? Are there any hard feelings about who's contributing what? You know, does Sala care that it's her money coming in? Or does he love it? Does she want none of his money? Because he didn't have any anyway. He's just a showpiece. All he had to do was fake love me. All he had to do was fake love me. I don't know. I wouldn't have been satisfied with the idea of someone fake loving me. I don't think I could go with that as like an agreement, to let alone put money down. And who am I showing up to? Like, if I pay Mark to hang out with me and to prove to you guys who, you know, that oh, I can get a man. I can find a man. First of all, no one probably suggested I couldn't, especially if I had been with men. Like, everyone knew Shantel could get a guy. She was with a guy when the channel started. It was not news. But I think she thinks that's proof of love, proof of worth, proof of attractiveness. And so the more attractive a man she can buy, the more it says about her desirability to attractive men. Okay. We've seen the line of winners that have gone through Chantal's life since we've been on the channel. And while these guys were probably a lot of fun for a night or two, I don't get the feeling that they were in it for the long haul. She was not going to shack up with either Natter and Sala, poor baby. I don't think he knows what's going on still. I think she takes advantage of the fact that they don't know the language and does things like that no one knows what's going on but her, and that she can kind of just like Irish goodbye. Like, she's like, I'm going to the bathroom, and then leave for Qatar and just not come back. We'll see if she goes back, and we'll see what the attitude's like. I mean, I don't know what else you could kind of gauge it by. We'll see if she's still a bitch when she gets back. Maybe it's his turn. When she gets back, maybe it's his turn. And he can go to, I don't know, Istanbul. Somewhere else. So he can have a week away. And she can stay home and make beds and make food and make tea and do things. I don't know where you get kitty litter, but do whatever the kitty needs to keep himself clean. Is it Sala's turn next? He's the man in the house. To the man go the spoils. You chose to move there. Never promise you a rose garden. So it goes. I've been picking this bagel apart because it wasn't evenly toasted. So it's in a few different pieces. I'm kind of just picking the soft parts out of the middle. As best we can. It's okay. So it goes. So it goes. At any rate. At any rate. So yeah, I think it'd be cool to throw in a few more Foodie Beauty little quick talk videos. I called it a snack break because I was just having a popsicle. But it kind of ties into the food theme. So I'm thinking more opportunities for that will come up. Why? Because she's not going to stay in a hotel forever. She never does. She'll disappear for a while. Is she going to pick up and show up again back in Syria or somewhere else? You know, she does swing around the Canadian passport like it's a finger of God, and that she can go anywhere in the world she chooses and be picked up by helicopter from anywhere in the world she chooses and brought back to Canada. I'm sure they're thrilled to have her back. They would love it. She contributes so much to the culture. They'd be very happy there. Who else would try all the poutine? How do we know if it's safe? Who would taste it? Chantal got to be back. I do think I have to say, and I don't know that this is, I don't say this to be dramatic, but I would take Shantel of 5-6 years ago over the high beeses, you know, the 5-hour live streams where she was just high as fuck the whole time, over those. And over the Kuwait arc. Kuwait arc is probably the least flattering to her. You know, the Natter arc wasn't flattering, but I think depending on the way people looked at it, they could see victim perpetrator or victim perpetrator taking turns doing the shuffle back and forth between the two of them. So that's a little bit different of a relationship. She kind of had a hand in a piece of that. That's why. Speaking of, with the Dee oh Dee oh Dee oh Captain, my Captain. We'll see where it's at. Natter's locked up, so we'll see where that goes. I'm not optimistic. He's as petulant and bratty as she is. He's the guy that'll talk over the judge. He will talk over the judge. He will, with his cuffed hands, hold up a piece of evidence and say, "No one even read this. This is my piece of evidence." And he'll be dragged away to jail, where he will feel like a kingpin. I've been in jail a few times. Clutch your pearls. And when I was in jail, I've met a few guys like them. They're the man in the community. Out on the bricks, they're the big deal. And so when they get to jail, they put on that facade like they are a big deal. And they start trying to shot call. "I'm getting top bunk. I'm putting in for this. Who's getting that? Yo, get my stuff." And they start trying to be a shot caller. Okay. Then a real man comes in. A real alpha, not an alpha wannabe. A real alpha comes in and kind of just assumes their role. And in communities of men, it pops up. That's just how it is. But he's not a true. He's not. There's nothing to be cocky about, really. Like, remember the cooking channels? God bless Natter. The cooking channels. Want to talk about food poisoning? I think he would give Foodie a run for her money with her. What the hell did she give everybody? They were all eating something she cooked with her filthy paws, and then everybody got sick. Now, everyone got sick, but she went to the hospital. Because she was extra sick. You know, and it's hot for everyone and there's no air conditioning. But she needs to leave and get some air. She needs to get a little space. If she was a single person traveling, she could make the selfish but reasonable argument that she's looking after herself, she's not committed, not married, no kids. So when she was bouncing around Thailand to here and other places, or even like when she went to Cuba, maybe she's not having a great time, but she's not fucking anybody over by being there. You know, at least she gave her laptop to the bellboy so she could, you know. But it was more of an exchange. There's this, her going around and leaving her family at home is very different. Especially when what she holds up to be jealous of is her family. Her tight, close family with her handsome husband and her cat as a child. It doesn't make sense. And if something doesn't make sense, there's the whiff of a lie in it. You know, there's always a lie with Shantel, but how big is, I think, maybe the question. How big of a lie is she holding on to? And who is she? Is she protecting just her? Is she protecting her and maybe Sala a little bit? Does he still need her for anything? I can't imagine she'd still be dangling a Canadian carrot in front of his face. I think when he thought he was rid of her, she turned around and flew back real quick. The second she landed on Canadian soil, I'd have been on the phone with the Syrian authorities. She said all sorts of conspicuous things before getting on the plane. It might be dangerous for her to come back. He'd have her on like a no-fly list in a heartbeat. But that would just be how maybe Sala would handle it. That's how I would handle it if I was with her. If I thought I was being ditched by the person that said they cared about me enough to come, like, this come here, go away routine is what puts men off around. Well, it's off-putting to men and women, but in her relationship, it's off-putting to the men. It's this desperate, I need you, I can't live without you. I'm driving to your house at 2 a.m. I'm getting the cops to open the door because I just need to see you to breathe and to be alive. Tell me, does she love you like the way I love you? Driving around to your not boyfriend's place, sitting outside at 4 a.m. and banging and blaring music. Absolutely blaring music. At her confession. And then sat in the car while she manipulated a visa into calling the cops. Because she needed her medical device. which I don't know how she gets by with now. I'm guessing she brought it with her to Qatar. She had a little breathing treatment thing that she was hitting like a fucking water bong. I don't know. I don't know. She's messy at the moment. She's very messy at the moment. And the curiosity is, where does the fun go next? Where does the circus go to next? I mean, I don't follow a lot of other creators. I follow Amber Lynn. Like, I used to follow Amber Lynn, but she bores the hell out of me. And I know she's had a big blow up of stuff recently. So, Glitter and Lasers, I don't know who she is. I get the feeling I don't like her already, but I don't know who she is. You know, I can throw an eye on that and see what's what. Does anyone have any recommendations that if I wanted to get to know Glitter and Lasers, is there any, like, you know how Shantel has, like, French Fry and Gorlick and Sansa and Kitty J and all the other channels that follow onto her? I wonder if there's any of them that follow in that direction. Are there any that follow Glitter and Lasers that I could, like, hook up with and get an idea of who she is while I'm watching some of her real-time content? The only bad thing I ever heard about her is that she took some sort of sponsorship to do a 5K. And so while it was very touching, it wasn't free. Which is, you know, I guess whatever. Glitter and Lasers. And then that Rosie girl. She was in my feed for a while, and all of a sudden now, she's pushed up to the front. Whoever Charlie Gold's talking about, I keep an eye on. Because as soon as she pushes them up to the front, by then there's something to see, maybe. So, I'm not a regular Charlie Gold viewer, but I'm not opposed to viewing Charlie Gold either. Plus, she has some one-liners here and there that are pretty sharp. So, I like a good wicked sense of humor. Deprecating, self-deprecating sense of humor. She goes hard at Foodie, but Foodie goes hard at her, and I can't say I'd feel different if I were her. You know, it's easy for me to say, oh, I would never act like that. How the hell do I know I'd never act like that? It hasn't come up yet. I might be pettier than her. We don't know. But to avoid those situations, we don't get into petty spats, petty fights. So we don't have petty problems. Couldn't he have just shipped her in a box? It would have been cheaper than $2,500 to probably ship her rather than her take a commercial flight. If it's good enough for Julia. I don't know. I don't know. Hard to gauge, hard to gauge. Where the hell did I put my thing again? I think we're done eating. Because I'm just picking at it right now. So I think we're done with food. I have to say, this has been easier for me to film, because even though I don't have my glasses on, I'm close enough to see. So, that way I can keep up with the chat if the chat's moving around. So disgusted. So disgusted. Let's discuss disgust. And that was the theme of the video, and that's still the trend of things. You know, there's not much to report because she's hiding or traveling. She's off the radar. And if she doesn't make a shit ton of money. She at least in the last couple months she didn't. For a number of reasons, she was off YouTube. She was not up there. And when she was kind of shadow banned, and she wasn't really showing up in a lot of people's searches, so she wasn't getting the views that she was before. Now, I don't think they're much higher. Even though her life is getting decidedly more dramatic, the views aren't really going up. I think she thought when she came back on camera in Syria, she'd get like a 60,000 view video. And that's not what happened. You know, people assume whatever she did, it's stupid. I'll find out later. And so the urgency to go to her channel and watch it is not there. The urgency to go to a reactor channel and see it is there if you're curious about what happened. Some people follow YouTube people like they follow shows that they like. And so if Shantel's made a new video, they're going to look around for other people who watched it or the video itself to check it out. That makes sense. That's YouTube. You know, that's how that works. But if you're kind of disenchanted, like I check in with Foodie Beauty in writing every day and then in videos, like as much as I need to give a fair assessment. So, but I'm not going over the top to. We're going to be a foodie beauty reaction channel now. That's what we'll do. Exclusively, nothing else. No more camping, no more cooking, no more crafts, none of it. I'm just going to sit around and pick at her for about 2 hours a day. This is not to say that I'm being facetious and talking about like Yaba or French Fry Girl, but talking about making a career out of off your channel and your channel's reacting to someone. If you want to react to something, like people who talk about history, there's plenty of history. There's tons of it. Eventually, Shantel's either going to die or you'll run out of shit to say. And then what? As long as it's within the understanding that this is a free ride, that this little bit of coasting on sharing my opinions is not going to last forever, probably, that I could step my game up and do something more, or I should just acquiesce and just, stop doing it. And it's not that, like I said, I don't like those sort of, I don't do the podcasty kind of channels. I don't want to look at a picture of a thumbnail and then just the talking. Just me. I know some people just always listen to them anyway, which is fine. Welcome if you are. But I don't know. Not really my job to follow her around that much. What would I do? What if we did back in the day turn it into, especially during COVID, we were doing pretty good views on foodie stuff. What if we did? What if we turned it all the way back to that? What does that exclude? Everything we do that we like for ourselves. I have to keep up more of an effort about a person I don't particularly care for. There was just so much more to it. Now, would we have made more money? Yeah, we would have made more money. We're a small channel, so more money is relative, but we would have made, we were making 4 times then, I think, what we are now, probably, at the height of it, because we were doing She Whose Name Ought Not Be Spoken, and we were doing Foodie Beauty at the same time. So we had videos going up, each getting a few thousand views a week. And again, for our channel, we have 7,000 subscribers. And about 30-some members. We do have memberships open. Feel free to join if you'd like. $2.99 to be on the Smoky deck. We just had our Friday? It was just Friday we had our members live. We had a members only live. It was fun. It was a nice way to sit down and chat. It was very quiet. It was very casual. So that was a nice thing to do. And it's been really, I think, a better way for me to talk about foodie, to do it like this, to be just a little more casual with it, because I don't want to get myself upset, because I'll get messages from people who are very upset, and I'm like, I know, I'm disgusted with her too, but, it's the same with Foodie Beauty like it is with the news. When it's some other crazy bullshit every day, you start to feel a little numb to it. You probably shouldn't. I probably shouldn't. Let me say me, not you. Me. I get a little numb to it. And when things are just so outrageous over a long period of time, they stop feeling outrageous. They start feeling kind of humdrum. Like, oh, she moved to a foreign country and left her husband behind. We've gotten to the point where that doesn't raise an eyebrow. Unless you're outside a girl world and you peek in, and then you can see what ridiculousness it looks like. I was just thinking of my dad. My parents came over when I was doing foodie homework. It's like 3-4 years ago. And my parents came, and it was a Sunday, and my dad was just kind of looking at the TV out of the corner of his eye. And he says, "This woman's room is filthy." It was Shantel. That was right around the back scratcher eating mac and cheese bees, where she didn't leave her room pretty much. She just sat there, ate, had KFC in the drawer, snacks all over the place. I'm sure there was bugs. She had garbage frozen to the deck because she didn't want to take it downstairs and couldn't. Using Pete's as like amusement, kind of the way she'll try to get the pet's attention when she wants some attention to play. She would kind of do it with Pete's too. Remember, she was screaming for Pete's because she thought she was all geeked out and thought he was in the closet in her bedroom, and so she had her back scratcher running around. That was actually funny because she looked like ridiculous. She looked ridiculous doing it. So, well, folks, we are coming up on the hour, so I'm going to finish my soda, probably not my bagel, and then tuck it in for the rest of the week. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. Thank you for new subscribers and other people who've joined this week. It's been a great treat. So welcome. Do feel like you can settle in. It's a good group here. It's a very chill crowd. It's very cool people. So, well, we're more than welcome. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe. Hit the thumbs up if you'd be so inclined. Hit the notification bell. You'll get alerts when we have new videos and go live. Please feel free to join. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All that stuff's down below. Thanks, and Mark will catch up with you next. I'm not sure if it's going to be tomorrow or Tuesday, but he's got a video coming out, so you'll be talking to him next, okay? Thanks for watching. Bye. Say goodbye, Mark. He's still outside. Bye.